Hey guys, I thought I would do a quick review of the Ego Power Plus Mower, model number LM2100SP. I just finished my lawn. This is the second time I've actually used it. I'll tell you the things I like and the things I don't in case you're considering buying one of these. The main differences of the things I don't, I'll just start with that right away compared to my Toro recycler. The things I don't like about the Ego, immediately I noticed that the wheels were a little small compared to my Toro, which made the rotation from lane changes and articulation a little more difficult. So I wish the rear wheels were bigger so I could have a better mobility with it when I change lanes or directions. Also, I noticed the traction on these tires are inadequate, especially on an incline or something. They just kind of slip and spin. So I'd like to see an improvement on the wheels overall. So that's kind of a big deal when you're coming off a normal gas engine and noticing the immediate difference. The traction was poor. The other thing I kind of noticed that I didn't really care for was the positioning for the arms and the arm length. In order to use it, you have to extend it all the way out and lock it, and you can see that in its top position it's actually pretty far from the ground, so you're basically mowing it. This comes up to the the middle of my stomach, almost the bottom of my chest at the top position. There's a medium position and a low position. The lower is obviously going to be a little more comfortable, so that you're not mowing with your arms at a 90 degrees. So I do keep it on the low position, but then the arm is really long compared to the rest of the mower when it's fully extended, which it has to be during use. So I'd like to see an improvement in the length of the arm, or having some arm length adjustability, as well as the articulation up and down to find a proper position to fit all different types of bodies instead of just one size fits all kind of deal. But those are the two things that really stood out as far as the build. Overall, the quality, it's pretty durable. I didn't get the aluminum deck or the steel deck. This is a good solid plastic. The battery itself charges really quick. It's guaranteed to, or suggested that it'll cut for 60 minutes on a single charge, and I found that to be pretty much in line with exactly what they said. Obviously, you want to take really good care of the batteries. The batteries for this particular mower are well over $300. The mower itself was about $450, so if the battery's $350, you can see that if you wanted to replace your battery, you're almost buying into a brand new mower system at that point in time. But overall, I would say to really evaluate what did this mower do in a 60 minutes before it charged. And so I just got done cutting my entire lot with it. I was unable to complete the entire front. I probably got about 10% of the front yard done after I cut the full back, and that's the majority of my property. But to get an idea of how much landscaping is being done with this mower, I'll back off to the corner of my property. I have steep hills, use the drive system quite a bit, but I'm standing back here in the furthest most point of my lot. So you can see that even with the swimming pool, there is a tremendous amount of grass. To put that into perspective, I'll go ahead and walk over to the other corner so that you can actually see what it's like to make a typical pass on this. And so I don't go uphill. Obviously, you're an idiot if you do that. You go back and forth on a hill, and so all my cuts are done back and forth to keep the motion going well, as well as the exhaustion of the human and the battery itself, opposed to going up and down the hills. So that would wear the battery out even quicker if I was having to use the drive all the time. So I tend to use the drive obviously when necessary, but not when I'm going downhill. And so that's what it takes for me to make a pass from one side of my lawn to the other. And you can see all the way out there to the curb from this corner and judge the front lawn. Front lawn usually takes me about 20 minutes to cut. I'd say the backyard takes me typically about 45 maybe. And today I got the entire backyard done, probably 10%, maybe roughly 10% of the front yard before the battery started indicating that it was on red. I may have been able to finish. I didn't. I went ahead and just went inside, threw the battery on the charger for 20 minutes, and then was able to complete the front with no issues. And so the storage of the battery, I did a lot of research because obviously the battery cost is so expensive. The storage of the battery needs to be in a cool, dry place, opposed to keeping it in the shed with the mower or something like that. So my recommendation would be obviously to take the battery out, and then when you're storing it, they recommended, somewhere around 30% of its power. So I'm not trying to drain the battery completely when I go into storage. I'm not trying to have it go back inside and then charge it and then keep it stored that way. You want to keep it around, they recommended 30 to 50% of its power charging capability for normal storage. And then after 6 months you would supposedly recharge it again, something like that. But it has some indications about how it self-releases charging and things like that to keep it at a maximum level. If you go beyond that 6 months, you have to read the directions to get into that. I really couldn't explain too much about that now. It's just about a month old. But anyway, I love the quietness of the mower compared to the Toro. Something I did forget to mention, the Toro recycler I had, the reason I tried to get out of it is because even though it's guaranteed to start, I've had that mower for 10 years. It never mulched well after year 2, even after repeated sharpenings. It never started well, following all the directions with complete gasoline drain in the fall, stuff like that. It's just got worse and worse and worse over the years. Would just leave trails of grass on the wheel wells out the side where it wasn't mulching properly. And so I noticed that today I cut the grass. It was a little wet this morning, and there was, maybe with the size of this lot, I probably had to go back on altogether with the front and the back. There was probably maybe 10 lanes with the distance of maybe 15 feet in each lane where the grass was really wet and tall, where it kind of didn't mulch properly, and I made a second pass and had no issues. But it's I don't bag my grass or anything like that, and I go ahead and mulch it every time. The takeaway between the negative of this, it just doesn't have the lifting power. This is a big deal if you're concerned about this, and I wish that there was an improvement in this, but it does not have the lifting power that a gas mower does. And what that means to me is it doesn't pick up my pine cones. I got pine cones all over the back. We got pine trees and everything back here, and so my old mower would have sucked all these pine cones right off the ground, sticks, dog poop, all that kind of stuff, and it would have grinded all these pine cones back up into mulch and redistributed it. But I don't have any of that lifting power in that, and so that's kind of a drag. And then also maybe where the grass has gone long along the edges and stuff, my old mower would have pulled that grass away and sucked it up into the fan blade, and it's not doing that anywhere around my property. So it does not have the lifting power that a normal gas engine would. Benefits to this thing: quiet. I'm never gonna have to go get gas. I don't have to deal with oil changes, spark plugs, all the general maintenance. I really enjoy that. I like the way it can store, fully articulated. Some newer gas engines can do that now, but the older models don't, because you have a chance of the oil spilling back in the wrong direction or the fuel spilling back in the wrong directions. So they can't be stored upright or on their side. This thing can be stored any way you want it. And it collapses quite nice and quite easy when you go ahead and want to store it. So you can see here, and then you can have that articulate even further over. But I'll go ahead and I'll slap that baby in storage, and I'll take the battery in and see where it is on its charge. Like I said, I got the entire backyard, part of the front yard done, and had to go back in and I charged it for about 20 minutes. and went from below 25% to somewhere right around 50% of a charge in 20 minutes. And so hopefully when I go back inside, it'll be, in between that 25 and 50, and that's a good storage point for it. And so I'll just keep it at that level until I need to charge it again. It rapid charges. You can charge it, the whole thing 100% within an hour from zero. So they say, so, if you're storing it around 25 to 30% wherever you're at, and then you wanted 100% on it, you're not looking at a full hour. So I knew I was going to mow the weekend, and I just popped that thing in, and I think it was Thursday night or whatever night it was, 2 nights ago. I just popped it in knowing I'd get around to it one of these days, and so it was ready when I needed it. Anyway, really enjoy it. My wife commented today, she said, that thing is so quiet, I didn't even know you were outside mowing the lawn, and I locked you outside of the house. So I would not say it's that quiet. I'll go ahead and put it on for you now just so you can hear it and what its running runtime is. But again, what you do is you go ahead and extend the arm. It will not start unless you extend the arm fully. And then you're just going to go ahead and push this button down, and then you pull in the engine start. And so that's the That's the sound of the mower. I tend to mow with my, I'll get up close too so you can hear it. And then just me kind of pointing the camera the other way. You can hear it in the background. Anyway, I tend to mow with my headphones on and listen to music while I do it every time. So I hardly even notice it when I'm listening to my music compared to my other mower. I had to have my headphones on at 100%. And with this, I'm probably running my headphones on to 75%, maybe 80%, which is what I would have normally done anyway with no mower. But anyway, so this bad boy cut my entire lot. You don't see a lot of areas where the clippings might have dumped out the side or anything like that. It did a great job. Compared to my old mower, I did like the way I could lift it up and create a fan draw away from my pool, and now it kind of made deposits, around the cement around my pool. So I had to be more wary of that and blow when I'm done. I used to not have to blow. I would just use the mower, my gas mower. I just lifted up in the air, and the fan force was always going, one direction to the right of the mower. So I was able to circle my properties and whatnot and use it as a blower. And I haven't really mastered that trick with this one yet. So maybe the fan, I'll get it down one of these days. But right now, I just pull out the old blower and blow it anyway. And I couldn't take the mower on the carpet of the patio anyway, so I would have had to use the blower regardless just to get the patio. So anyway, those are some of the pluses and minuses. Pluses, quiet, never have to go get gas, maintenance is low, does a good job mulching, has an adequate power supply, I would say, especially for my lot size. If I had to guess, I would say, I'm not on a half acre, but definitely a third of an acre, between a quarter and a third of an acre if you wanted to judge it with hills and articulation. And so overall, also the thing I did like compared to my other mower is it has a dual, both the front and the back will increase in size, and so it's easy to adjust this thing for height. Your other mowers, typically you're doing this wheel, that wheel, this wheel, that wheel, or it's the front and the back. I haven't noticed very many mowers that do all four wheels. And so that can be a plus or minus for some people. Some people like to have the front low and the back higher to get more air circulation for mulching. With this thing, mulching just fine. It's not even a concern of mine. Can't really give you any tips or let you know how it does for bagging. I don't bag. I probably only bagged a couple of times. I hate bagging. It's a pain in the ass. I got too much grass. I'll be emptying. When I did bag, I had to empty the bag 20 times to give you an idea of the lot size, literally. And that was on the Toro. So overall, thumbs up on this. Would be interested to see how this might compare to I guess there's a dual blade Ego Power Mower, and somebody in the store recommended that over her single blade. I went with the single blade. It was about $100 cheaper, more than that. So would really maybe consider going with the dual blade if I knew the real benefits of it and reviews. But at the time, this was the right price point for me, and this is what I ended up getting anyway. So it's mine now, or unless I end up not liking it and taking it back. But so far, I don't see any reason to take it back. It's been enjoyable so far. So for everything I do like about it, my other mower was the exact opposite. And for the things I did like about my other mower, like the articulation, the tires, the torque, the lifting power that it had, that's kind of a trade-off. So this thing does a good job, but a couple of areas of improvement. It certainly would like to see better lifting power to pick up stuff off the ground, pine cones, things like that. But overall, I think it's more than enough to have a fair trade, to have the plus side, to have clean energy and not be polluting the air and all the other benefits that electric power has. But looking forward to seeing where the technology goes, 10 years down the road. Hopefully it'll be a robot doing the whole thing for me and I won't have to do it at all. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hope this was informative to you. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any comments, things that you have or products that are better than this, please comment below so that I can educate myself on those as well. Thank you, sir.